What's up, YouTube? Ooh, that was loud. What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I am here today with the review for Greenleaf Season 4, Episode 2, and it's titled, Did I Lose You? Did I Lose You? So, you guys, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and just jump right into tonight's. Alright, you guys, so the episode, it opens up, so we see Grace, she's in her room, and we hear a knock at Grace's door. So Grace goes to the door to see who it is, and who do you guys think it is? It's Charity. So Charity's like, you know what, Grace, I'm so happy to have my sister back, I completely overreacted, and now, I shouldn't have done that when you told me that Phil had decided to, use Jacob as an associate pastor instead of me. So I apologize. And, Grace is like, oh, no, Charity, you don't have to do that. Yes, she does, Grace, because Charity acted a whole fool. So, yes, Charity does need to do that. But we all know that Charity is up to no good. Charity is playing a game. So Charity tells her, since, that's fine. What you can do, if you can do it, if you can talk to Phil and get Phil to have me on as the music director, that'll be completely fine with me. And she's like, I thought you didn't want to do anything with the music. And she was like, whatever her friend's name is, I cannot remember his name. The one that is over the music. She's like, well, he's not getting along with the new person from Hope and Harmony, so he definitely wants. So he wants me back. And she says, you know what, Charity, I'll see what I can do, but I'm not gonna guarantee. I can't guarantee you that Phil's gonna say yes. And she's like, that's fine, Grace. And I'm like, Charity is full of crap. You guys, I'm trying not to cuss in this video, but Charity knows she's full of crap. I just want to reach through my TV and slap all the teeth out of Charity's mouth. So then we see over at Calvary, well, Hope and Harmony. Harmony and Hope. Which one is it? H and H. That's what we're going to call it for now. So Corinne is going over Grace's calendar with her. And, she's talking about how she's going to meet with someone from, what is his name? Bob's family. And, Jacob is like, is that his wife? She said, no, his wife died a year ago. That's his daughter. And she's like, why am I meeting with her anyway? She said she wants to just get to know you. So then, as they're walking, Corinne also tells Grace that, Phil wants to meet with her to go over this Blue Lake thing. And she's like, she is not going to be able to talk to him. So she says, Jacob, can you go talk to him? And he says, you know what, I'll do it. So then we see Grace goes into her office because she asks Corinne, is he in there? She says, yes. And I'm like, oh, that must be Noah. And lo and behold, it is Noah that is in her office. So Noah's just mad at Grace because Grace never told him about her having a kid. But the thing was, Grace was 18 years old. She never intended to have this AJ. She went to an abortion clinic to have the abortion, but she couldn't go through with it. And then when she had the baby, the nurse told her to give her the baby or else she would never be able to let go of him. So Grace put him into an adoption. And, we find out that Noah has not told Isabel because, Isabel will probably leave him to know the fact that he has a child with Grace and they can't have a kid. And so Grace tells him that, AJ found her when he was 18. The adoption was sealed, but they unsealed it and he found out who she was. And this was also when Sophia was 12 years old. And Sophia's dad was looking for any reason to turn Grace and Sophia against each other. So she just did what she could. She just kept a secret. So, she said that she wants to make things right. And Noah tells her, well, you got until tomorrow because that's when he gets out. And, I'm like, wow. So you got less than 24 hours, huh? Cool, Grace. You in a whole world of mess right about now. All right, next we got Jacob. He goes to see Phil to talk about Blue Lake. So, Phil's whole thing is that Blue Lake is a little bit expensive for Hope and Harmony, or H&H. I think it's Harmony and Hope and Harmony. I think that's what it is. And that they have better, cheaper camps. And, Jacob is like, well, okay, you might have better, cheaper camps, but with the kids, we want them to get away from the diversity. And, Phil's like, what do you mean by that? He was like, this caters to African Americans, African American food, culture, music, things that are such. So they want the kids to be a little less diversified, whereas in the normal world, the everyday world, they're around nothing but diversity. But with this camp, They want them to be around black people, to know about their culture, know about their history, know about their food, know about everything there is to be a black person. And I got where Jacob was coming from. But Phil, however, still does not care. Phil, yeah, Phil just still says no to it. And that if Grace has any objections to it, then Grace needs to come and talk to him. So then Jacob goes and talks to Grace and tells her about Phil. He's like an Uncle Tom or somebody else. I forgot what he said. And how he thinks that Blue Lake is just too much and he wants more diversity. And she's like, well, you go and tell Phil. No, he says, Phil says that if you want him to know what you, blah, 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 blah. He says that Phil wants her to come talk to him if she has any questions or concerns. So, Grace says, you know what, reserve the place and I'll pay for it. And Jacob's like, it's going to get pretty pricey, right? She says, yes, I got it. It's okay. And then Jacob tells her, I saw Noah. Like, is everything okay with Noah? She says, oh, it might be something going on between he and Isabel. And then we see Grace, she gets a call from the correctional facility that AJ is at. And we later in the episode see Phil. So Phil goes to Grace's office after, she sent Jacob to have a conversation with him. And Phil's whole thing is like, when he asks for her to come see him, he expects her to grace him with her presence. And she's like, I don't work for you, Phil. And, Phil thinks like since, he's up under Bob, that he's a big guy and everybody in that surrounding, that surrounding little area of churches, they have to come to him when they need help or guidance. She says, okay, I got that. So when I need that, I'll come to you. But right now, I don't need that, so we're good. And then he talks about her, still reserving those spots over at, Blue Lake. She's like, well, I can cover. He says, it's $100,000. She said, yes, and I have the money to cover it. He says, okay, you know what? Never mind. We'll cover it, but you have to explain that to Bob while we're doing that. She says, that's fine. I can do that. No problem. It's just something about him that it just rubs me wrong. And then she was like, well, I had a conversation with my sister Charity, and, she wanted me to ask you if she could come back on as the music director, but I told her that you want to go for it. He says, no, you can do it. And Grace was a little shocked, like, wait a minute. He didn't hesitate with that. He just immediately said yes. I'm like, Grace, use your thinking cap. Use your thinking cap. There is a freaking mosquito in my apartment. Damn. Like, use your thinking cap, Grace. He's playing her. And we're going to get into Charity in just a little bit. All right, so next we see Grace and Sophia. They're talking. And this is where Grace reveals AJ to Sophia. And Sophia is like, I'm not judging you or anything. But Sophia was very much upset with her because Grace is talking about how she's going to pay him to, find a place to live and everything. And, Sophia's like, that's not what he wants. What he wants is his mom. And Sophia was visibly upset with her. And I definitely understand what Sophia was saying. Like, that's kind of, like, that is jacked up. The fact that this is your son, you gave him away for adoption because you were 18. I guess you were embarrassed about being pregnant at 18. But, again, you gave him away. And then when he came to find you, you turned him away. Like, and now he's getting out of jail and you just want to pay this man off to go away. And you want to keep a secret. Like, as much, and I love Grace. I love Grace. I really do. But as much as Grace gives Lady Mae so much grief about everything, it's kind of like the pot calling the kettle black. Now, there's a big difference between what Grace did and what Lady Mae did. There's a big difference. And I can't really say whose side I would be on because, yes, Grace was 18. She went to go get an abortion. She didn't get the abortion. She had the baby and she gave the baby up for adoption. So, and she's lied to her family. She's lied to Noah. So, I don't know because neither one of them look too good because what Mae did is not even good. Lady Mae had Grace, but she portrayed Grace as Bishop's daughter when she was in fact Lionel's daughter, who is in fact Bishop's friend. So, they're actually, I hate to say it, but Mae and Grace are kind of like the same person, and I think that's why their personalities, that's why they clash so much, is because they are so much alike in so many ways. So I definitely got where Sophia was coming from. Like, that's really horrible the fact that you want to just pay him to go away. Like, that's not right at all. So Sophia tells, and actually Sophia was wanting her to tell Grace that she was not going to the Hamptons, which we'll get into that a little bit later. But she says, what? I don't want you to come to the Hamptons with me. I'll do it by myself. And that's when Grace is like, can you keep this between us? And I'm just like, wow, Grace, you really do sound like May right about now. Because May wants you to, and you should know how that feels because May wants you to keep the secret of Lionel being your father. So, see what I mean? They're one and May and Grace are kind of one and the same. And again, I mean, it actually feels kind of hypocritical, to be quite honest with you, the fact that she judges May so hard about that stuff when you're doing kind of similar to what she does. So then we see Sophia. Sophia is getting ready to leave to go to Hamptons. And Grace is like, you can't make that long drive by yourself. Like, who's going to go with you? And Sophia was like, well, my dad is going to meet me at the airport and I'm picking him up and he's going to ride the rest of the way with me. So then May comes outside and asks, asks Grace, like, where's Sophia going? She says, the Hamptons. She says, I thought you two were going together. And she says, we're not. And, May is like, do you want to talk about it? She says, no, I don't want to talk about it. And it's kind of, I think it's kind of because of what I just said. It would be like putting a mirror up to her face. Because you can talk about Lady May all day, but you would have to look in the mirror at yourself and be like, man, I'm not that much different from my mom. And then Zora comes and asks her, like, where's Sophia going? And May tells her to school. And, Sophia looked, I mean, not Sophia, but Zora looked a little heartbroken, which, again, we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. So then, as the episode was getting ready to end, we saw Grace, and she was watching a service online. I was wondering if that was Phil's daughter that wants to meet with her. Don't know. But then she gets a call from AJ. So the reason that AJ is giving her a call is because, he'll have to go to a halfway house because he doesn't have a residence to go to. And she's like, you know what? I'll help you. And he's like, cool. And he hangs up the phone on her face. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. Interesting. I'm really interested to see how this is going to play out. Like, I really am. What is Grace going to do? All right, you guys. So, Carissa. She's really about to get on my nerves this season. So, we see Carissa. She is still looking for a place to live. So, then there's this realtor that I guess she knows that, saw a listing that she thought Carissa might be interested in. So, Carissa does go take a look at the listing. And she tells her how much the listing is for. And Carissa's like, right now I'm kind of strapped for cash. And, the woman was like, well, what about your in-laws? She's like, I'd rather sell plasma than do that. So then we see Carissa and she's talking to Jacob. And she's telling Jacob that she wants the house, but again, they have no money. So, she was talking about, well, why don't we sell that land that's across the street from Calvary? And Jacob was like, I don't want to do that. Because he says he made a breakthrough in Dante, which we'll get into Jacob and Dante a little bit later. And, he wants to use that land to help other kids like Dante. So he just tells her, like, he does not want to sell it. He doesn't want to know how much the land is worth. Because she was like, I can reach out to whoever to see how much we can get from it. And Jacob says, no, don't do that. She's like, well, my name is on that deed as well. So I really didn't have to ask you. He said you didn't, but you did anyways. And he says, I would respect it if you didn't go and ask how much it is. So he tells Carissa, like, give me a week. Let me pray on it. If God doesn't give me a sign, then we can go forward with that. But in the meantime, let me pray on it, and we'll figure out what to do next. Well, Carissa, being Carissa, she did not follow what Jacob's wishes were. She emailed whoever she was talking about. She emailed them to see how much it's worth. And I'm like, it's not a shock that Carissa would do that. Carissa actually, like I said, Carissa is aggravating and irritating just like Charity is. And we're actually going to talk about Charity in a little bit too. All right, so we see Sophia, May, and Zora. They're getting ready to go on a shopping spree. And they were trying to talk Grace into coming with them, but Grace is like, can't do it. So then we see Sophia and Zora. They are in the store. They're trying on the clothes, and they're having a good time. And then we see Lady May. She gets a text message, and she sees it's an invoice. And on the invoice, it has $38,000 on it. And May looks at that thing, and she says, the devil is a lie. And she just chunks her phone right into the mirror. I'm like, wow, May, like, you mad, huh? And then the girl comes in like, is everything okay? She's like, oh, My phone just fell out of my hand. I'm like, your phone fell out of your hand and broke that mirror. That was some phone. Like that was some phone. What the lady made. So later in the episode, we see Zora. She is looking at Dante. She's like, "Oh, my dad is just flaunting it in my face that he's with this fine boy, and he won't even introduce us. He's just punishing me." Well, that might be a good thing, little girl, because I mean, have you forgot what happened with you and light skinned Ike Turner DeBarge? You should want to stay away from the bad boys forever. So Sophia is talking about how she doesn't want to go. She doesn't think she wants to go to summer school. And Zora's like, but then you already paid for it. She's like, yeah, I can get my money back, and I can just go in the fall when I'm supposed to go. And she's like, because I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave this summer. Leave you and my mom. So Zora says, you know what? I got you. I'll support you. Like, but there are two caveats. The first one is you live here with me. Number two, you go to Bible study with me. She's like, Bible study? That is early in the morning. She says, how about this? I'll wake you up, but I won't go. And Zora says, deal. So that's why Zora was, in her feelings a little bit that Sophia had left. Because they had made a deal that Sophia would stay with her and she would go to, wake her up for Bible study. But we're going to move on to Bishop next. All right, so next we see Bishop. So Bishop is on a piano playing, and Charity comes downstairs, and they start singing with one another. So Bishop sits Charity down, and he's telling Charity, like, I know you were upset that, they didn't bring you on as AP. He tells her that might not be a bad thing. God has something for you. And what you need to do is you need to sit down and you need to figure out what it is that God has for you. And he also tells Charity that she is the heart of the family. I'm like, the heart of the family, huh? Huh. What are you going to feel? What you going to think about the heart of the family when you find out that she's working with Phil to conspire against the family? She's not going to be the heart of the family at that point. She's going to be the snake of the family. Like, how can you just turn your back on your... I just don't get Charity. She's so selfish. Like, that is a... Oh, God, Charity's too selfish. So, and Bishop is... Bishop tells her, you know what? I got to go because I'm planning a honeymoon for me and Lady May. She's like, Mama getting married again? He's like, not right now. But, it never hurts to be prepared. Never hurts to be prepared. So then we see Bishop, he meets up with Corinne at the church, but it's dark, it's late at night, and Corinne is supposed to be incognito with them sunglasses on. I'm like, Corinne, we know it's you. Like, we know it's you, Corinne. So, Corinne hands Bishop a folder, and, she tells Bishop not to tell Lady May where he got the information from. Bishop tells her, cool. So then, we see Bishop. He's at the house. He's met with the travel guide to plan the honeymoon. And May walks into the house and he's trying to tell her about that. And she's like, "Not now, James." So she runs upstairs and she's pissed off. And Bishop's like, he's like, "What did the girls do?" She's like, "It wasn't the girls. Like they're down at in the guest house. They're having fun." She says it was Connie. It's like, "What did Connie do?" She's like, "Nothing." Well, she says she sent me an invoice about actually no, but I got that backwards. Nope, I don't. She sent her an invoice about overages until she changes everything. And Bishop was like, "Well, how much was it?" And she didn't tell Bishop, but we all know it was $38,000 and some $38,000. And May asked Bishop, like, "What is that in your hand?" He says, "Oh, it's just a bill from the exterminator." She says, "You know what? Tell the exterminators to go down to Connie's house and exterminate her house until every living thing in that house is on its back, begging God for mercy. And starting number one with Connie." I'm like, well, May is mad. And then, May was like, "God help me. I know you don't like ugly." You're right, he don't like ugly. He shouldn't like Connie's ugly behind with that ugly, jacked up wig she be wearing. I'm so glad we didn't have to see Connie in her horrendous wig this week. So, we see Bishop And Bishop gives May a file, and it's that file that Corinne gave him. And what it is it shows that Hope and Harmony and Hope, or Hope and Harmony, H&H, they're paying off Connie. And May is like, where did you get this from? He says, I can't tell you that. She's like, where did you get this from, James? And again, he's not trying to tell her. She says, you got it from Corinne, didn't you? And she tells him, like, this is not the way for us to get the church back. We need to be better than that. Like, we don't need to try to do all this underhanded, shady, deceptive dealings to get the church back. We need to do it the right way. And basically, she says she's not using it, which I don't blame her, because if she wants the church back, I would want the church back with honor and integrity, not not doing the sneaky underhanded stuff that Connie did in the first. I was about to cuss. Not doing the sneaky underhanded stuff that Connie did in the first place. So you guys, we're gonna move on. All right, you guys. So next is Jacob. So remember earlier I said that Jacob ran into Noah. Well, he was talking to Noah, and he was like, "Hey, so how long are you gonna be here? Like, when did you get here? What are you doing here?" He's like, "Oh, I'm just visiting family." He says, "Doesn't Grace know that you're here?" He says, "Yes." And he says, "Well, you need to come by the house so you can catch up with my mom and dad." He says, "I can't do that. Like, I'm headed to the airport now." And he says, "Well, you know what? I'll tell my mom and dad you said hello." He says, "Please don't do that." He says, "I'm not trying to be rude, but don't tell them that." So then we see Jacob. He meets up with Dante, and Dante pulls up on him in a Maserati. And I was sitting here like, wait a minute. So is Dante a college player, or is he an NBA player? And then I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? Maybe he's an NBA player. I'm thinking he is around Zora's age, but he's probably an NBA player. And I was thinking, I'm like, okay, maybe he's like a child prodigy, like a LeBron James or Kobe Bryant. So that's where I figured. And they go and play. They go to the play basketball. Technically, they play basketball with a football. So Dante is trying to pay Jacob off to not tell the managers when he blows $10,000 at the strip club. And I'm like, whoa, we spending that much money at the strip club? Okay, little man, if you say so. So Jacob tells him, "Nah, man, put the money away, and I'm all good." And Dante tells him, "You're a good man." He's like, basically, I was testing you." And then later in the episode, remember I was telling you that he told Carissa to let him pray on it and give him a week to figure out what to do. Well, we see him back at the basketball court, and he's praying to God, and he's asking God, like, show me what you want me to do. And I really do feel bad for Jacob, because Carissa is a piece of work. Like, dang, you can't even get a man a week before you go and just do stuff behind his back. Like, that's jacked up, Carissa. But Carissa's a jacked up person. And lastly, you guys, we're going to talk about that selfish Charity. So we see Charity, she is at lunch with Phil. So now, because of that conversation she had with Bishop, she's questioning everything. Well, she shouldn't be questioning in front of Phil, because Phil is, being like, well, I've never saw a pastor that's, been accused of arson, owes the IRS $2 million, and everything that Bishop has been through, fraud. He's just, placing some doubt on Bishop. And I'm like, if you gonna sit here and listen to this and let this man badmouth your dad, you deserve whatever's coming to you. Like, are you serious? Like, Charity is such a dummy, and he's buttering her up just to use her, and she doesn't see that. So then we see Charity. She's in the office with Corinne, and she's gossiping. And then Lady May comes in there to get Corinne. And before Corinne leaves, she drops Noah's name, but she didn't finish what she was saying. So I'm assuming that Corinne must have called May after she gave Bishop the file. And, Lady May tells her, like, I need you to be here, so don't get yourself axed. Like, I need you here. And then Lady May pulls out an envelope out of her hand, and she gives it to her. She tells her, you know what? You give that to Connie before the board meeting tonight. She's like, what is this? She's like, this is payment in full. I always repay my debts. And, that is basically where the episode ended, you guys. So be sure to like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys later.